Sunshine State, where secrets hide. In Tampa Street, she seeks out lies. With a sharp eye, she'll reveal the truth. Justice calls and she pursues. From county jails to hallowed courts, she finds truth where they distort. Fearless heart and mind so keen, Sam unravels tangled seams. The truth is buried deep in files. Fairness is what they try to hide, but Sam prevails. She's got your back. With grit and grace, she never lacks. Uncover lies and play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. Footsteps echo in the night. She chases justice with the light. A warrior for justice for all. She won't stop when she hits a wall. Florida Pisam is her name. Uncover lies and play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. Uncover lies, play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may.
Got it in one try. Good evening. It is Saturday, September 13th, 2025. Oh my God, I don't need to see myself that big on any screen. I was just reading the chat. I appreciate y'all's enthusiasm because I am tired. It is so good to see you guys. I apologize for my absence and my cancellations, and you'll see I have dressed up for you. Anybody watch anything good on Court TV this week? Oh, God. All right. Let's say hi to everyone, and then I'm going to try to pull together some coherent thoughts for you guys. So thank you, Squeegee, for dumping your stream into mine. Welcome, Sharon Kirkland and Hector's mom. Appreciate you joining us. Let me see. Kelly, Mom, Dad, Great Gams. Nice to see you all. C. Morales with 2 months on a membership. Thank you. Amanda Cullimore, welcome. Hey, Pammy. It's been a minute. It's good to see you. And Super Kelly G, it's been a minute for you too. B Michigan, good to see you. Thanks for loving the song. I was listening to the lyrics. I'm like, I really do stop when I hit a wall, so maybe I should try to rewrite the song. AI wrote the song. Laura Long, welcome. Oh, you found a Henry emoji. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hi, Laura. Hi. When this trial is over, I'm going to have that conversation about editing with you. Hi, Cindy Stove. Oh my God, let's look at all you all showing up. Thank you for, Joe Schmo is in the chat handing out gifted memberships. I appreciate you, Joe. Thank you. All right, you guys. Hi, Psychosaurus Rex. Listen. All right. So I appreciate you guys. I really do. And so I'm a real life investigator. Yeah. That's how I sort of ended up here on YouTube, and I work in criminal defense here in Tampa, Florida. And so I'm in the most high profile trial that I've been a part of to date. Wasn't expecting any of the things that have been happening. Was expecting the case to sever. I've got 5 co-defendants, 1 jury. So I thought that jury pick was going to be a whole lot worse than it really was. Yeah, Pammy, I heard you did. Yeah. Hey, OnlyFan, it's good to see you. I'm hiding my hair. Not on purpose. I was just too tired. Listen, I had to go out and buy, well, online. Alexis and I went shopping for some larger sized clothes because it turns out that in my plethora of court clothes, I don't have sizes big enough for what I currently am at the moment. So imagine my joy at the television cameras pointed directly at me. Yeah, you guys have been checking out UFOs with Squeegee today. That's great. I'm glad to see all of you guys. Wow. Thanks. I feel so welcomed. And I'm sorry my brain is so broken. Okay, so my original stream from last week was going to be talking about this jury pick for this case that is currently in trial. And I want to go back for a minute. I want to talk about how I ended up on YouTube. And I won't bore you to death, but I've been working in criminal defense since 2015, but I wasn't always an investigator. So when I became a PI, I went to work for Billy Lane. He sponsored me in Prison Break Investigations. And if you are a trial watcher, then you know about Sarah Boone. And I spent hours of my life in a room with Sarah Boone that I will never get back. So I had come home one day and I was listening. I had accidentally wiped out my entire YouTube watch history. And somebody was covering some Sarah stuff, and they were talking about the Justice Administration Commission, which is who pays for defenses like Sarah's. And some stuff was coming out that was like, my frustration level was at an all-time high, which is not unusual. So I reached out to the creator I was listening to, and I was like, so, maybe I could help you to understand this process a little better. And thank you, Laura. And that's where actually I met a lot of you lovely people. I wanted to clear up misconceptions, right? And they were, to be fair, I have had a lot of the same misconceptions. I didn't start out intending to work in criminal defense when I decided I'd go to law school when I was 37 years old. Everything has just sort of fallen over itself. I didn't think Sarah Boone was going to blow up into anything. I just thought, oh my God, that woman. But here we are. And so I have tried to come to you on YouTube and show you what you don't see, right? Because you can watch all the trials and you can watch all the great channels on YouTube who are, with the attorneys that are breaking things down, the arguments and stuff like that for you. And even though I went to law school, I'm not an attorney. I chose instead to get my investigator's license. I didn't even know my job existed when I met Billy Lane. So, and I had retained him to work on a case that I had for the attorney I was working for in his office. And it's been a really eye-opening and interesting, how many years? What year are we in? So I'm coming up on 6 years now with my license. And it's been really interesting. It's been very eye-opening, and it's also been an exercise in frustration and learning a lot about myself, as well as the system and how it works and how it's supposed to work, and why my chat just wants to show me the top chat and not the whole chat. So anyway, I'm here, and you guys hear me come back, and you hear me talk about going to the jail, and if you've been around since I started, you heard about a trial that I was in last August, and that kid still has not been sentenced. That's a whole other thing. I don't have the energy for that rant right now. But this is the first time that you can actually watch me in part of my job, because I'm sitting next to our defendant in court with a camera that is on a tripod remote control that is tracking. Like, it's not always on our table, thank God, and I'm not going in and watching any of the coverage. I don't need to, nor do I want to. But I guess it's a little bit of validation in a way, because you guys can actually see for yourselves that I do what I say, what I come on here and tell you about. These are the experiences that I truly do have in my real life. And while I'm not usually embroiled in the middle of a high profile trial, this is my everyday life, is dealing with mostly young Black men who are charged with, most often, the unaliving of other young Black men. So a lot of cases end up pleading out before they ever make it to trial. But we have a head prosecutor right now that wants to take everything to trial. And so it's created, they're having to change like trial divisions and court divisions, and all kinds of things are going to have to go on in my 2 death penalty trials that were supposed to happen, one next month and one in December. I'm hearing now that they're going to be bumped. And then my kid, who hasn't been sentenced, apparently that is going to turn into a retrial. And I've got cases just stacked up that I haven't looked at in weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I was like, picking a jury sucks. So what's it going to be like to pick a jury for 5 defendants, right? And so on my thumbnail, I have 5 defendants, 9 lawyers. So there's 3 state's attorneys, 3 in Florida, we call them state's attorneys, assistant state's attorneys. And then on the defense side, we have 5 plus 1 on my attorneys. I'm working for attorney Nick Sinardi, who I've worked for about 10 years now. He's the one with white hair. And then Scotty Sinardi, who has been on my channel a couple of times and is a brilliant, brand new lawyer who is just doing a great job. And they are very distantly related through marriage. So, but all of those attorneys who are there, and Billy is there. And of those attorneys that are there, only one of them I had never met before, except for on the state side. I don't know any of them. But yeah, it's been an experience. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some of what it's been like, and check in with you guys and see how you're doing. And I'm not wearing a hat because I'm trying to conceal myself. I'm just tired. And so I want to say thanks to my friends at Trial TV Live who are streaming this trial, and in particular because I know that a lot of chats like to pile on to the defense and the defendants and the defense attorneys. And my understanding is they're not allowing that to happen, and I appreciate it because, yes, a 4-year-old child has lost her life, and there should be no circumstances under which that happens. However, there is a presumption of innocence, and I think it's really hard for people to remember that. And you know, I want people to, while I understand the sympathies lie with victims of crime, I also really want people to try to remember to put themselves in the shoes of what if they were accused of, or your brother, sister, mother, whatever was accused of committing a crime. And I've used Karen Reed as an example a number of times because middle-aged white lady, right? I don't make the kind of money that Karen Reed was making, not by a long shot. But, you know, look what happened to her and what it did to her life. And so, you know, you have to go in, and I don't go into my cases expecting that they're guilty because they've been charged. I go into this just trying to help balance those scales of justice, which are rather unbalanced, and just to be a part of the system, you know, a part of advocacy. And excuse me, while I do private work, like you can hire me if you want. I primarily work on indigent cases, so the state of Florida pays me. I have a vendor contract with them, so I'm an hourly 1099 contractor. So I'm working for people who can't afford a defense, and I want to take just a quick minute to explain that because it's been a while. And when I think when the streams first went up, there was a lot of talk about the public defenders. So first of all, public defenders are not bad attorneys. They make over $100,000 a year, which I don't make anywhere close to that. Okay. They have the same education as every other lawyer. Some of them really just dedicate themselves to public work. That's what they want to do. A lot of people go into the public defender's office, or to the prosecutor's office for that matter, because I can't speak to how it is now because I'm avoiding it, but previously you could get your student loans forgiven. 10 years working in public service and making your payments. So the bashing of the public defenders, I think, needs to stop, because I know a lot of private attorneys who are not nearly as good as, for example, Jennifer Spradley, who is the only female defense attorney in this case. I think she's excellent. You're going to have, in any profession, you're going to have people who are great at their jobs and people who just don't care. The other attorneys that are there for the defense, those are private defense attorneys. Sarah Boone had private defense attorneys. These are not public defenders, and a public defender doesn't have anything to prove up against the private defense attorneys. We just had a judge leave the bench and go into private defense practice. I know another criminal defense attorney who just went to a prosecutor's office. People move around in jobs for all kinds of reasons. And so I have to sometimes stay out of chats because I get so mad, right? And remember that that's why I came here in the first place. That's why I created this channel, is so that I would have a place to present this information. But I get very frustrated in the heat of the moment, and I want to lash out, and I have to refrain from doing that, because that's very, that just contradicts my whole purpose for being here, which is to show you a different side of the criminal justice system. I think it's great that we have the ability now to watch these trials, but you guys don't see all of it. You don't see most of it, and the jury doesn't see a lot of it. So, that's why I'm here, is to try to shed some light on all of that, and to talk about the fact that, like, it took 4 years to bring these defendants to trial. So they have been sitting in county jail for 4 years. And that's, they have families too. And the state has the burden. I don't think I understood this. There was so much about law school. I went back when I was 15 years out of undergrad, and so much about law school just kind of like did not make sense to me. The pieces didn't come together for me until I went to work, like, in the real world. The state, in any case, the prosecution has the burden of proof. That means that they have to prove that the person is guilty. The defense does not have to do anything, ever. We don't have to prove our innocence. We don't have to prove that they're not guilty. The burden remains on the state, unless you try an affirmative defense like Sarah did with the domestic violence thing, and she walked herself right into a life sentence doing that. So I just want people to be really clear that those of us who are working on defense cases, like, why there can be a lot of love for an Alan Jackson on a Karen Reed trial, or a David Giannetti, or the little one who I like so much, whose name escapes me. But, there's so much love for her defense attorneys, but then if you sympathize more with the victim, you hate all the defense attorneys who are trying to defend these young men, right? I don't know if they're guilty or not. I never asked. But I've spent 4 years working on this case. So when I get a case and I get the discovery, I go through it and I go out and I do what I do. And then, there's a point where I hit pause on it, because if it's not coming to trial, I need to address the cases that are coming to trial. But, I've gone to the jail since December of 2021, seeing this client and this young man, and I know his family. I had never set foot in a jail. I had never thought about doing anything related to criminal defense at all until I sort of fell into where I am. And so my goal has just been to come on here and sort of share my experiences with you guys, and hope that you understand that everything that you see, or the talking heads that show up on Law and Crime, that a lawyer from California could be commenting on a case they don't know anything about from Florida. It doesn't mean they're a bad lawyer, but it could mean they don't know anything about the case. And for example, in one of the news clips about this case, a lawyer who has nothing to do with the case was commenting based on an initial release of a police report. We're at almost 1,000 pages of the police report now, and the state just turned over their ballistics exhibits the other day. And when I asked them for a digital copy of it, because they made it on a computer, they said they didn't have it, which made me really mad. But okay, there's my soapbox. And thank you, Trial TV Live, for gifting 10 more memberships. Hi, guys. Okay, sorry. So yeah, this has been a really unusual experience. I have other cases that I think are going to show up in streams. This won't be the end of it. And we're going to do a stream with Chris, Squeegee of Justice from Trial TV Live when it's over. Super Kelly G says, unfortunately, watching Owen's defense era makes people feel some way about defense attorneys. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Hey, Ohio Palm Mom. It's been a minute. Yeah, so, okay, I want to, Ohio Palm Mom says something. She says, it's unfortunate that some defense attorneys come off as looking like they're lying or inept. So I think that's, yes, Chris, but don't troll me, please. You can ask me generic questions, but don't troll me. I'm too tired. I'm too tired. And I will do I just talked to you 5 minutes ago. We're going to do a stream. So I wanted to address something. The other day when the state rested their case, the defense attorneys each had to get up and make an argument for judgment of acquittal, which basically says that the state did not prove their case and the defendants should each be, oh my God, acquitted right then and there. And I know it seems ridiculous. Like, I get it. But it's part of the process. Just like you have a recipe for cooking food or baking something. If you cook like me, you don't have recipes. I don't cook anymore anyway. But there are pieces to this puzzle, right? There are steps that every lawyer has to take, both on the prosecution side and on the defense side. And especially on the defense side, a lot of what is being done is to preserve the defendant's rights for an appeal. I live in Florida, obviously. We have one of the highest wrongful conviction rates in the country. We put people to death faster than anyone else, and we get it wrong so much of the time. And undoing that wrong is nearly impossible. And I know because I've spent years working on cases where I was trying to undo that wrong, and hundreds of hours worth of work didn't budge the needle. No pun intended with that, sorry. So what I wanted to say is when those defense attorneys have to get up and make an argument, they have to make the argument. They're covering their butts. Just like if anybody else makes a mistake. I went to a coffee shop to meet a client. They forgot to give me my bagel, so I went up and asked for it. They had to give me, they didn't have to, but the manager came out and was like, here's for a free coffee the next time you come. They were covering their butts so that I wouldn't get mad and go off and, write a bad review or something. Like, I have time for that. So yeah, anyway, before you are so quick to jump on the bandwagon of that attorney is lying or that attorney, that's ridiculous, nobody's going to believe that. They're doing the best they can with what they've got. And it's up to the state to prove their burden that these defendants are guilty. And it's up to the jury to decide that. So that's what I hope you take away from my channel, whether you like me or you don't like me, or you're anti-defense, or you're here because you're related to me or you know me in real life. Take away the fact that there is more to all of it than what you see. There's just so much more to it than that. So let's talk about picking a jury for 5 defendants. Okay, so let me go over here. Thank you, Squeegee, for agreeing not to troll me tonight. I do appreciate it very much. Hey, Detective. I know your name is Elizabeth. It's good to see you. Hello. What is the advantage of trying multiple defendants versus one? Time, money. For us, we don't want it. Hey, Alexis, can you put Psychosauric Psychosaurus Rex up, please. Money and time, resources. And the state gets a better shot, I think, at conviction if they we've got a conspiracy. It's a 6-count indictment, and one of the counts is conspiracy, right? Yeah, one of the counts is conspiracy. So Psychosaurus Rex. Oh my God. Okay, you guys are just gonna have to. Says a very good friend of mine that is a deputy public defender said defense attorneys would be considered negligent if they didn't do the JOA, even if it's blatantly obvious they won't win it. Exactly. So there's something called a 3850, and that's where inevitably it will happen somewhere along the appeals process. Thank you, Mel. Oh, hi, Mel. Mel, where have you been? Thank you, Cindy Stovall. I appreciate you. Mel, good to see you. Thank you for all the gifted memberships. Appreciate you so much. It's good to see you. Somewhere along the appellate process, one of the appeals that a convicted person can make is ineffective assistance of counsel, and they will do it every time. Doesn't matter if they've been convicted, they're going to come back against their lawyers. Doesn't matter. So part of doing the judgment of acquittal, or any of the other legal arguments that may seem stupid, we're going to move for a mistrial, blah, 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 whatever it is, they have to. It's part of protecting themselves, their license, their profession, their reputation. And it's just, I don't understand. I guess I'm at a loss for why there is so much hate for everything right now, but it makes me mad. Okay, so let me see. Let me go back and try to answer some questions. Okay, so Squeegee says, are you as confused in the courtroom as we are watching? I was wondering if you all were confused. I personally do not think that the state has put together the case that I thought they were going to put together. I know more than what you're seeing. But I'm also not always listening, because sometimes I'm looking for something that one of the attorneys has asked for or that the client has asked for. Sometimes I'm reading to catch up on something, or I'm, looking for a document that I made. It's so weird that I can be there for it and then not remember parts of it, but remember other parts of it very clearly. This is a confusing case. I put so many hours into it in the last, I want to say, month. I don't even know. I've lost track of time. I will say that I see personally a major difference between a Tampa Police Department investigation, which is what this was, versus a Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office investigation. So if you were here and you remember, I have talked about cell phones on a number of occasions, but in the trial that I had last August, where it was 2 defendants, but only one cell phone, they flew in the cast report guy from the FBI. Here we have 5 defendants. There is cell phone data for 5, and it's just the detective from the TPD testifying. They didn't fly in the FBI. I don't understand. Some of this I don't understand. Well, Mel, Henry appreciates you very much. He hasn't known what to do. Let's see. Joanne never got a yes. My client's sister just texted with more clothes. Sorry. Okay. I need help with that. I don't know what that means, Kathy Davis. I'm not ignoring your comment. I just don't understand. Let's see. I'm glad that you're here. Yes, Mel. Tattoo on, it's Aztec for she who creates herself. I have like a ink scribble heart on this one that I got in France last year. Amanda Cullimore. Okay, so Kelly is saying the state's case is confusing as can be. Okay, that's good for reasonable doubt. Amanda Cullimore, welcome to the channel. I don't recall seeing you in chat before, and I may have just said that earlier. I said the exact same yesterday while watching. I'm not sure that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Then there is reasonable doubt, right? Squeegee says, we have so many questions and feel there are many items that could be evidence that haven't come in on the state side. It looks like the defense won't bring in much to help us understand either. Hi, Widespread Panic. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. Mel, you've been a member for 3 months, but we haven't seen you in 3 months. I'm just kidding. Do I have any idea what crime scene tech Boyd will be testifying to on Monday? Crime scene tech Boyd. That name is not even ringing a bell. She Who Creates Herself. I can't pronounce it, but there was a book that was very good. Called Queen of the South. It was originally written in Spanish about a woman that became the head of a of a drug cartel, and it was a really well done book. And then they turned it into a TV series, which sometimes was good and sometimes wasn't. But she had it. The lead actress had it on her arm, and I looked it up, and I just liked it very much. Because I feel like that's what I do, is I just sort of create it as I go. Brian Gonzalez said she would be the only witness for Zavante. Okay, so yes, then I do know what she would be testifying about. Yeah, so Mel, it took me a really long time to get monetized. I'm sorry, you guys, I should just move this one screen so I could read the other one. It took me a long time to get monetized because the oh my God, the Ellen Greenberg series got me shadow banned. So I couldn't even do memberships for a while. Guys, can you hold on for just 1 second? I'm so sorry. Chat amongst yourselves. I'm sorry. Okay. This is what it's like in my brain. I apologize. All right. So the defense doesn't have to put up a case. So the crime scene tech, yes. So what they're going to testify to is we don't understand why car number 2. That seems so random. Okay, so yeah, that's an excellent question, Kelly. Detective Salea said not enough evidence to bring charges. Yeah, that was his opinion. Kathy Davis, what trial is this about? This is the trial of 5 defendants in Tampa, Florida for the death of a child named Sunny Bell. So Squeegee, we can address that when we do the stream. There's more evidence against them than some others, and yeah, so I don't disagree with that. Yes, the same case that you are watching, Kathy Davis. I'm a member of the defense team. I've been in court all week. Okay, so completely lost my train of thought, but that's all right. You guys have questions. I want to be able to answer them, but the case hasn't, the state rested, but the defense has not rested. And so I don't want to, I want to be very, very careful. But I want to tell you a little bit about picking a jury for 5 co-defendants. And then I will do a stream with Chris, Squeegee of Justice, and we'll do all the questions. And yes, I do have major case exhaustion. You guys know my brain fails on me the best of times. And I, for whatever reason, last night I woke up like every 90 minutes. I don't know. It's really hard when you're like in the middle of it, even though I'm not a lawyer. Like it's so hard to explain. So they pulled 100 people in for this case, which this shooting took place in 2021, and it hasn't been on the news. And if you were watching on Trial TV Live when Chris first brought the openings, he did a run of like the news clips and stuff that had happened from back then, but you hadn't heard anything about the case in a long time. So we really didn't have any issues with that. What's interesting to me is that the process went as smoothly as it did. I have seen it be more contentious for smaller cases, and but there's one Black person on that jury, and I don't remember if we ended up with 14 or 15. Like, I don't know how many are actually sitting. You guys might know. Because it's a 12-person jury plus alternates. And so I come back again to this question of, does this jury panel, is that a reflection of a jury of these men's peers? What was also interesting to me was that absolutely nothing stood out to me about this jury panel. Nothing at all. They were really mundane compared to some of the others I've seen. There was like one or two that we just knew were going to be pains and needed to go away. But if you weren't seriously watching for something, you weren't going to find it. And so there was just a lot of agreement all the way around. I mean, they had the panel picked really fast, and I think I even left early that day, although I don't remember why. That judge was not interested in giving any of us lunch breaks or breaks, which I'm not a fan of. It's freezing in there, by the way. How does this trial compare to others you've been associated with? Harder, easier, tiring? Hi, Deb. Welcome. Well, the older I get, the harder everything seems to get. This one, I fall into this weird place, right? Because even though I try now to be less involved with the clients' families, this one I met with the sister over 4 years ago. And, she has continued to check in with me throughout the years. And then I recently went on Sunday before the trial started and met with the sister and the mom for like 5 hours and took them through absolutely everything I could possibly think of and gave them printouts of things I had put together to help explain the process, because they had never faced anything like this before. So I fall into a weird category where sometimes I have, I know the family a little bit, and I've been around the defendant a lot. But recently we had a case that I didn't go to the trial. I'd only met the defendant briefly at a meeting I didn't want to particularly go to, but I'd spent a lot of time working on the case. So this one has been a lot. This one has been exhausting, for sure. I don't know if it's just because of the sheer sort of scope of what was out there to maybe be brought in, or the nuances of it, the organization or lack thereof of it, or I just don't know. I don't know. It has been a lot on a lot of different fronts. Yeah, so the other thing this is going to sound so ridiculously stupid, but I work from here at this big mess of a desk. I don't wear shoes most of the time because, like I said, I live in Florida. Um, I have to put on nice clothes and fix myself and schlep all my crap and go to court every day. Park the car. I got hit the other day. I was pissed me off so bad. All of that. Then I have to trek halfway around the courthouse to go in through like a professional line, so I don't have to go in through the line with all the jurors. And they're like, "Are you an attorney?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm at the entrance where you don't have to show your bar card. But if you show up in a suit and you look professional enough, they don't make you drag all of your electronics out of your bag, which I appreciate because I'm carrying a laptop, an iPad, and 2 iPhones. And they don't hassle me too much. And then, get to the courtroom and go and deal with whatever has to be dealt with at that time. So for me, that's a lot, right? And I'm home by myself all the time. So being with people all day long, that's a lot. Then having you have they can't see me really from the other side of the courtroom. The courtroom is very big, and I understand that to you guys it looks like the gallery in the center is empty, or that the courtroom is empty. It's not. There's sides, and both sides are pretty full. And then throughout the day, if you see the center gallery fill up, that's usually like you can tell sometimes it's law students or it's other attorneys coming in to have a look or whatever. But then after the first day, realizing that they had put a camera right there and having to try to remember that there's a camera right there. And sometimes when I look up, it's looking at me. And I know that, like, I don't have a pleasant expression on my face and I don't want to sit there grinning. I mean, I don't know. So the whole thing is just a lot. And while I am doing this and while I have been doing this case, all the other cases are just stacking up one after another, and it's impossible to try to do other work for me. It just really is. Even if nobody's asking me for anything, to like turn your attention out of what you're so immersed in. For me, I can't do it. I just haven't been able to do it. So I'm tired in a way that maybe I haven't been before, and I think it's just because of the scale of this particular case. So let's see. Are you asking about strikes? I don't know. Joe asked a question, but I lost it. I need to be looking at them in StreamYard, but it's easier for me to read you over here, and then I don't put you up. I'll get there. So let's see. How's Henry taking my absence? Is he hanging from the ceiling when I get home? Or does he have a warm bath? Well, you'd think he'd clean the damn house. It looks like a crazy person lives here. He's doing pretty well. Yeah, well, I appreciate the compliments on my hair, you guys. That's I appreciate it. Those chairs. So okay, yeah, those chairs are they're horrible, but I figured it out that if I got there early enough, I could steal a cushion. There's only like two, so I've got a cushion on mine. I appreciate the hair compliments. Clearly, I didn't want to make. There's so much hairspray in my hair, I just couldn't even. The strikes usually I mean, they were agreeing on the strikes. And I remember. Okay, so the issue with jury selection was they fill out a like a one-page questionnaire when they're downstairs, right? And then they send those up to the courtroom and start handing them out to us, and then we start filling out the big charts. But they left people off. Then they give you a list, and like somewhere along the way, everything got messed up. Like the names, some name was on there twice. Somebody's question, we were supposed to be given 50 questionnaires. We got 48. They seated them all the way across that entire courtroom. So it filled 100 people in there, and we were all flipped around looking at them. But the way they ran the numbers were not the way that we had numbered our papers, because you really and truly needed to cut another one apart and like tape sections together. And I just got too confused. So I just started reading questionnaires and flagging them for various and assorted things. But I remember just being very frustrated with that. The judge, I thought, though, was good about not pressuring the lawyers to be done too much. Because sometimes I've been in jury selection where they're like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? And it's like, no, not really. We're still trying to sort of figure this out, because you're trying to keep track of these people as they're answering questions, because it's not like, oh, hey, did you have a question? Or we're asking you a question, you stand up, and then we're like, okay, you're out for cause. They are sent away before they're stricken or struck. I don't know what the proper correct word. Was I in the car when I get hit? Yes, it was just I'm mad. That was just stupid. It was a stupid girl, and she made me really mad because she was listening to Taylor Swift, and you guys know I love me some Taylor Swift. And then she tried to gaslight me into believing that she hadn't done any damage to my car. It was just a little bit. But I got her license plate, so I'll address that later. It's not a big deal. I wasn't hurt. It was at a stoplight. It was fine. It just, yeah, it is hard to people all day, especially when you're at home all the time. Let me see. So yeah, anyway, strucken. I don't know. I don't know. I think that that's as good as guess as any, Yeah, I'll find her. I was just like, I was kind of I wasn't in a daze because she like hit the back of my car. I was just in a daze because I was tired. It was the day I left early during jury selection, and the sun was super bright, so I could not see my phone. I was like, oh, the hell with it. And I just took a couple pictures of her license plate and typed her phone number somewhere. And I was like, I know how to deal with this later. I'm certain she didn't have any insurance, and it's probably going to just be easier for me to go and get it taken care of. So, but I was mad nonetheless, because it was just stupid. And there's only so much stupid you can take in a day, right? Thank you, Amy Crew. Nice to see you. So 3 days. It took us 3 days to pick a jury. And we learned when I walked out, which was very funny because I didn't realize they were going to keep the camera feed going. So I left early the other day. I needed to run some errands, and Trial TV Live texted me. It's like, where'd you go? And I think that's how I learned that one of the defendants, no, I guess I was still maybe in there when I learned one of the defendants is going to testify. So that should be very interesting. And that would be Brian Gonzalez's client, Zavante Sampson. He is going to testify. So I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I don't know what my deductible is on my insurance. It's really not that big of a deal. It's I didn't get hurt. I wasn't hurt at all. I'm hurt on behalf of my car, which you can, it's fine. So what do we expect then from the week ahead, which is that tomorrow I will work on the Julio Folio discovery nightmare a little bit more, because that will be a death penalty case, and that is coming up for trial in March. So they are starting depositions in Jacksonville as soon as this is over. So I've spent my days working on this case and my nights working on that case for the better part of, I don't even know how many weeks now. I've lost track. So I don't know. We're not planning to put up a defense. I don't know if any of the others are. And then we'll have closing arguments and jury instructions, and then the case will go to the jury. And as I've told my client's family, it could be an hour, it could be a week, it could be 10 days. We have no idea. And I don't know. I can't even hazard a guess with this one. I really can't, because I know what I've spent weeks staring into my big screens looking at, and I know all the pieces. I have no objectivity. So I don't know what the jury sees. I don't know what you guys have seen, although the feedback I am getting from Alexis and from Aaron and Chris is that it has been confusing. Kathy Davis, I would be willing to bet you money that the judge probably does ride a Harley. I don't know about a bulldog. He does wear cowboy boots though, and a vest. Julio Folio, yeah, that was his rap name. And that trial's going to be a 3-ring circus. If you guys think this, Alexis, how do you know if he has a Jeep? He has a Jeep? How do you know this, woman? Yeah, I know, Mel. I know who your attorney is. Oh, you love this judge. I do not love this judge. I think he's kind of harsh. He does look like he could play bass in an oldies rock band, doesn't he? I don't know. I think I don't love him. I don't love the judge, but he's doing his job. I did have a thought today though, and that one coherent thought before I came on here and rambled to you all for the last hour, which was, I have decided that I think that in order to be a judge, you should have had to have been on both sides at one point. To be a criminal judge, I think you should have had to have been a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney, because I see way too much bias in judges and I don't like it very much at all. I don't know who Judge Boreski is because I don't watch all your trials, Joe. Or it must have been a Lori. Was it one of the Lori trials? He is harsh to the defense. You are right, Kelly, which is why I'm not the biggest fan of him. How much do I charge for private PI work? Depends on what you want me to do. But if you have a question and I owe someone a look at their situation, it's sitting in my work email. You can, Great Games, it's floridapisam at gmail.com. I think we remembered to check it this past week. Oh, he has Jeep swag on his desk. Got you. Amanda Cullimore, I think the judge is quite biased. I agree. Judge seems super harsh towards the public defender. So the PD, do you mean, oh my God, Jen Spradley? She's the only public defender. I think she's a very good lawyer. I like her very much. Okay, Joe. Judge Boreski was judge for both the Lori's trials in Phoenix. Got you. Okay, Alexis says, oh, I have a question. Yeah, Mel, did you know that to be a Supreme Court justice, you don't even have to be a lawyer? Did not know that. I think that to be a judge, you should have been, if you're going to be, they rotate our criminal judges out and through, like, into family court and then into civil, and I don't know if they do that everywhere or Florida just does that, but I've decided on criminal cases that I really and truly do believe that you should have had, 1 to 2 years in the prosecution, 1 to 2 years at least in the defense, because the bias is really real. And I just think about, this is the second time I've been in front of this judge, because he took over for the judge the kid who still isn't sentenced. And I saw him sentence some people, and to learn that I have 2 more trials coming up in front of him, and Scotty just had one in front of him, and I want them to be fair. That's all. I don't want them to be biased for either side. I want them to be fair, and I don't think it's wrong. When he's on camera for you guys, what you see, he's pleasant, but he's never, like the day of jury selection, when I left, I was freezing, I was starving, and I think I said to Scotty, did he ever give you guys lunch break? And he said no, but he went and took one, and it's like, he doesn't, I guess I like the judges that we see, that have some warmth to them, and he is not like that, not at all. And the other thing that happened, was that there was a fight, outside the courtroom between the victim's family and some persons, and I do not know who, on the defendant's side. And so I didn't see it. Somebody just came running back in and said, hey, they're fighting, and all the bailiffs went running, and, well, not all of them, because 5 stayed to guard the 5 defendants to make sure they didn't, they're not going anywhere, they're shackled. But, it could be a lot. Just everything all at once, it could be a lot. Yeah, so to be a Supreme Court justice, you don't have to be an attorney, which is crazy in my opinion. To be a coroner in any county in Indiana, you do not have to have any qualifications related to the office. None. It's an elected position. All right. Okay, what are we voting Rex for? Psychosaurus Rex, what are you running for? Judge Everett, Rex for president. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Psychosaurus Rex wants to be president. Okay. You go for it. So that is what I've got for you tonight, which is to say, a lot of me, well, I can get behind s'mores for everyone, for sure. Which I understand was one of my stream of consciousness type situations, and a little preachy, and I apologize for that. But I'm glad that that this case is being streamed. I'm glad that you guys are watching it. I'm less glad that I'm on camera. Oh my God. I don't know how I got here, honestly. But like I said, I'm going to do a stream with Chris from Squeegee Justice from Trial TV Live. He has questions. You guys have questions. So I'm going to let him collect questions or whatever. And because I know he's very excited and he's been very patient about me not speaking on specifics until this is over. So when it is over, and as I said the other day, it's not over till a 4-person sings, and hopefully they're unanimous in whatever verdict they reach, and hopefully, they come about it the right way, in the way in which they're supposed to do it. like I said, under no circumstances should a 4-year-old child be shot. But also 5 men don't need to be punished if they weren't the ones that caused her death. The right people need to be punished, and there was another car, and I have questions too. So I'll give you guys a wink. I'll give you guys a peace sign. Yeah. Psychosaurus Rex has a emoji of Henry chewing on my iPad. That's about how I feel, you guys. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm tired. So anyway, well, each defendant had a separate verdict. Yes. So they're not all even charged with the same. They don't all have the same charges. It's a 6-count indictment, which is what I was about to say. There were 3 cars, Amy Crew, in the line, but Pammy, it was good to have you. Please come back. I am going to go to bed right now. I just wanted to answer the question. So it's a 6-count indictment. 1 and 5 defendants, but they're not all charged with the same thing. So I'll explain more about that when I see you again. Yes, I'm going to go to bed and hope that I sleep. Henry needs sleep. All Henry does is sleep and eat. Cindy Stovall, no, I don't, Cindy. Yeah, I appreciate your support, you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around, for coming back, for being here, for listening to me, for your insightful questions. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate that you keep coming back when I keep canceling. And I'm so sorry about that. But at the same time now, I'm glad that at least you see part of the end result, right? And so I will schedule with Squeegee a stream, and we'll talk about it some more. But you guys, please be safe out there in this crazy, crazy world. Try to keep an open mind, and remember that there is a presumption of innocence, and the burden of proof is on the state. All right, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much.